All right, hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. So yeah, today we're going to be continuing on with the multiplayer, prototyping here. And I'm getting into a groove now where I can actually develop a lot of the features that I want to build. So I think today, there's a couple of things that I want to do and got to get the loop finished, the main loop of the game. Not finished, but like in a good state where I can kind of evaluate how it's feeling. I'm going to try to add some more complex enemy behaviors in terms of pathfinding and all that stuff. And of course, then I need to get stats and all that kind of stuff. So I need to really still figure out like what I need to build to make like a minimum viable product. But there's a lot of foundational work that I know I need regardless of how far I go with that. So yeah, we're just going to be doing some of that stuff today. And I'll probably take a detour and do some somewhat irrelevant things that are also fun to do. Like I want to add some like hit effects and stuff. So I think that'd be nice. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is now available for purchase. So if you are interested in supporting my work, check it out. The link is down in the description. We're at 42 reviews, 95% positive, which is great. So thank you for everyone who purchased and thank you everyone who reviewed. Again, that link is in the description below, so check that out if you're interested. I've also got Udemy courses, which will teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, if you're interested in that as well. All right, so let's get into it. Hello, Cheesem. Watching from my Latin class. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So first thing I want to do here is I'll show you what I've got going on. So I've added the ability of enemies to do attacks using the same. So I'm building all the entities such that they use all the same code so that I can just put a weapon in an enemy's hand and like it's going to behave exactly as a player would in terms of using the weapon. And I think that's going to dramatically simplify the gameplay. Obviously, there's not every enemy is going to have a weapon. So, but the enemies that do have weapons, you can see that they swing and I mean, you can't really see it that well, but they swing their weapons. They do the attack combo. Like normal, they can't yet damage the player, so that's something that we're going to want to do here. But the other cool thing is that I've implemented so that when you smack an enemy, it actually staggers them, it interrupts their attack. So again, this is going to be more of like a deliberate combat style. So I want the player to be able to have like openings where they can smack someone, and because there's an opening, it should interrupt that enemy and prevent that enemy from continuing on, because obviously it feels really bad if you move in and you want to attack something and you hit each other at the same time or something. So that's kind of what I got going on here. I can show you that a little bit nicer with this. So you can see the enemy swinging, and if I smack him, he gets interrupted. And there's a little bit of a wind up here too. So I actually did some work on the animations. I split the animation. I'll show you how I'm doing this. So if I go to my base weapon here, I split the animation, this swing 1, swing 2, swing 3, into several two components here. So the first 1 second of the animation is a wind up animation. So this is like the anticipatory wind up. So if I do this, you can see that that's like the wind up, and then the second half, the last second of the animation, is the follow through. And because these are each 1 second duration chunks, what I can do then is I can change the speed scale depending on where in the animation it is. So here I'm calling this function set wind up speed scale. Right now this is a fixed value, but this is going to be determined by your stats, like your attack speed. So the idea is that the attack speed is basically going to define how long this wind up lasts, and then the back half of the animation here is going to probably just have a fixed time so that it looks okay. So really it's just this section in here that's going to be affected by your attack speed, so there's a lower wind up period. And the benefit of doing this way is that I can have a higher wind up period for enemies to really show their attack preparation, so you can react to it. And then the follow through, I can just kind of like standardize that and make that however quick I want it to be. So that's kind of what I've done, and I did that for every animation. And these are in 1 second chunks, just so that it's easier to anticipate how a speed scale is going to affect it, right? So if I have a wind up speed scale of 4, that means that it's going to take 0.25 seconds to get through the first half of the animation here, right? So that's what I've done. It seems to be working okay. This is largely just experimental. I'm mostly just thinking about how I want the weapons to work, but I think what I'll do is this base weapon class, since there's going to be a bunch of different weapon types that have different animations, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to have a giant animation player that contains all of the animations for all the weapons, and then the weapon sprite is the only thing that's going to change and where the hands go. And so the base weapon is basically just going to be a container that holds the animations for every weapon type, and then we'll update the weapon sprite depending on what you're holding. So if you're holding like an axe or something, it will have a different animation set. And then I'll have to pass down the weapon stats into this base weapon here to affect the swing speed and the damage and all that stuff. So that's kind of what we got going on here. Again, that's all experimental. All this is subject to change, of course. So yeah. Hello, reporter. Gazudin, your Survivor's Game Udemy course was my first Godot course on Udemy. It was great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Dione. Welcome back. Hello, Emerson. Good to see you. But there's a couple things that I want to do here first before we go too deep into any of the other stuff. So I want to, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Right now, the enemies are not flipping to face a proper direction. So I'm going to want to do that. So let me do something here. So visuals, node, private sprite 2D, sprite 2D. Okay, so this is a animation for staggering. But when we enter, or when we're doing the state normal, what I want to do is current target global position. Okay, so let's do this. Var target position is equal to current target at global position. Let's do this. Var direction is equal to there we go. Okay, so this now, this direction here determines which direction we're going, but also I'm going to change the flip. So the visuals dot scale is equal to direction dot x is less than 0, question mark, new vector 2 -1 1, otherwise vector 2.1. So that should handle enemies being flipping around to face the proper direction now. So let's see if that works. Okay, so you can see now that the enemies are flipping to face the proper direction, but they're locked in their attack. The other thing I did with the attack animation is that there's no hitbox that's created during the windup, and it's not until you actually swing that you move forward a little bit. So the idea is that during a windup, I'm going to enable the player to do an animation cancel. So if you start an attack and you say, oops, I didn't mean to do that, you'll be able to like use space or something to roll out of it and cancel it. I'm trying to like I said, I'm trying to make the combat a little bit more deliberate. I want players to actually feel like they're trying to avoid attacks and finding opportunities to just get a couple of smacks in. If they commit to an attack and they decide they want to bail, they can bail out of it, you know, stuff like that. Of course, those enemies are bunching up as well. Good morning, the Red Velvet. Good to see you as well. Did you try out 4.4? It's on RC2 now. No. Not yet. I am going to probably update when the stable version comes out. Probably will update Gunforged to 4.4 as well, because I think it might fix some issues that some people are having on certain hardware. So I don't want these enemies to be bunching up. And here's the other thing too. I'm actually noticing something that I don't necessarily want, which is this state attack swing. Oh no, that's fine. Attack it. Let me try something. Just want to make sure that these transitions are working correctly. So player. So that's transitioning after the attack animation is done. That's fine. So let's actually do this. Hand component or base weapon. Swing speed scale. Let's just do 1 second so I can see what that looks like. And that will slow down my attack swing quite a bit, but I just want to make sure that I can't move while that's happening. I don't want to have to move. Okay, yeah. So I can't move until the swing is done. Bam. Oh, it's so slow. Boom. Bam. Okay. Anyway, enough with the sound effects. Cool. Okay, so make enemy face direction. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is this going to be kind of a fun thing. I like to add these kind of like fun visual things early because it actually does increase the enjoyment of the game. I want to add a hit flash to the enemies because, of course, every game is made better with hit flashes. And then also have some like blood particles come out. So that's what I want to do. And it should just make the, I don't know, make the game feel a little bit more juicy right off the bat. It's not exactly the most important thing to be doing at the moment, but you know how it goes. So how do I want to do this? I think I had a hit flash component in Gunforge, which I'm going to do, but I don't need it to be a canvas layer now. Do I need it to be a canvas layer? Let me think. I don't think so. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new node 2D, and I'm going to say hit flash component, scenes component. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is scripts component, hit flash component. This should be relatively simple because all I need to do is export private health component, and then public override void ready health component dot health changed plus equals on health changed, private void on health changed, health component dot health changed update, health changed update if health changed update dot previous health is greater than health changed update dot current health. And I can actually simplify this. What I can do is I can do public bool is damage, and then I can just do this. Previous health is greater than current health. So that'll simplify things. So now I can just do this. If is damage. Actually, let's just do an early return. If not health update is damage, then we'll just return. Okay, so in here, I'm going to want to do the following. So the other, well, yeah. Yes. So I used a canvas group before, but I don't think I want to use a canvas group this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a material here. It's a shader material. We're going to create a new shader. Let's save this in. Let's create a new folder, resources, new folder, shaders, or shader. call it shader. It flash.gd shader. Template default canvas item, sure. Create. Okay, so we don't need the vertex fragment. This is fine. So we need a uniform float. We'll call it flash %, I suppose. Int range 0.0 to 1.0. Cool. And then we're gonna say vec for text color is equal to texture UV. Okay. Vec3 RGB is equal to mix text color.rgb, and then we're gonna mix it with vec3 1.0, 1.0, 1.0, that's white, and then the float value will be the flash %. And then we're gonna do color.rgb is equal to RGB, color.a is equal to text color.a. Okay, did I do this correctly? I don't know, we'll find out. So the first thing that I'm gonna do to test it is let's go ahead and add a sprite, and I'll just put the test enemy in here. Now the thing that I'm gonna have to do is check this box, use parent material there, and then what should happen hopefully is that if I go into the shader parameters and I increase this flash %, boom, there we go. So it's a very, very simple shader. So just to step through it in case anyone's curious, grabbing the texture color, the RGBA values, so the red, green, blue, and alpha values from the texture, given the shader constants, the texture that's assigned to the material or the node, and the UV, so the texture coordinates of the pixel that we're sampling here in the fragment. And then based on this uniform value, 0 to 1%, I'm basically mixing that texture color RGB channel with 1.0. So this is basically a lerp, this mix. So this is saying, based on this weight, go X% in the direction of white or in the direction of the texture color. So at 0, it's going to be the full texture color, and at 1, it's going to be full white, and anything in between, 0.5 for instance, is going to be a mix of both, right? So that's what that does. And then I'm not using the alpha value here because we want to preserve the alpha value. We don't want to mix that. So anything that's transparent, it needs to remain transparent. And this probably wouldn't work if you've got semi-transparent pixels. I'm basically assuming that pixels are either going to be fully visible or fully invisible. But you could make it work. You just have to check for any pixels that have an alpha value of approximately 0. But anyway, so we're overriding the output color of the pixel, doing color to RGB is equal to this RGB we've mixed, and then we're setting the alpha value to whatever alpha value is present in the texture. So that's essentially what's going on. Actually, now that I think about it, I think this will work for semi-transparent pixels because it's all it's changing is the RGB channel and maintaining the alpha. So it should work. Anyway, so that's a very simple hit flash shader that you can do. Now the problem is, if I want to apply this to everything, I'm going to need to set use parent material. I'm not going to go overboard with this just yet, I don't think. Well, let me think. I might have a helper method, actually. Let me try this. So, init node. I'm going to create a method in here, private void, assign parent material. I may end up needing to switch to a canvas group eventually, but we're going to try without it first. So assign parent material for each var descendant. Oh gosh, I forgot how to spell descendant. Okay, in this I think I can do this dot get all descendants. Yeah. So this is a Godot utility method that I wrote that does a it basically does a recursive walk through the descendant nodes of this node. And we're just going to say descendant dot use our parent material of type node 2D dot where x dot owner is equal to owner. So we don't want to reach into any subscenes. So we're going to do get all descendants where x dot owner equals owner. So basically we're just saying anything that belongs to the current scene. And then we can say descendant dot parent material use parent material is equal to true. So that's just going to recursively set use parent material on all those nodes. Okay, so then we need to animate this. So I'm going to do this, assign parent material in the instantiated. Cool. Alrighty then. And then what we're going to do is what? We need to tween this value here. So this shader parameter flash %. I wonder if I should, maybe I'll rename this flash underscore %. Okay. Okay, so now we need to tween that value. Private static read only string name uniform path is equal to shader, what is it called? Shader parameter slash flash %. Okay. Hello, MyCoonDev. Great to see you started a new game. Yeah, I'm having fun. It's a lot of effort, but I think I'm getting a handle on the multiplayer now, and I think I've got a handle on it. Good morning, Christopher. Did I already say good morning? Well, good morning again. Are you using C# with GDScript? There are some add-ons that I'm using that are in GDScript, but they're like NetFox, but there's a NetFox Sharp that creates some wrappers for that with C#. So I'm not explicitly using GDScript, but there is some interaction between C# and GDScript in this project. I'm just not directly doing that interaction myself. Anyway, so let's see. So now on health change, what we need to do is I need to have a tween here. So let's do a private tween, hit tween. And we're going to do this, hit tween dot question mark dot kill if valid. This kill if valid is also a Godot utilities thing that I wrote. And basically all it does is it says if the tween is valid, kill it. And then of course this could be null. So we do the null chaining operator. So anyway, it's just a one-liner to make sure that the tween is dead. And then we can say hit tween is equal to create tween, hit tween dot tween property. We want to tween the material and we want to change the node path property. Let's do string here. Actually, can I do, maybe I'll just do node path. Uniform path. We're going to do variant final value is 0f. Double duration, let's do 0.15 maybe. And then we're going to set, or we're going to do from 1f. And then we're going to set ease type. I think we want out, set transition, tween.transition type. Let's do cubic. We'll just see how that works. Okay, so, and then I think I need to do local to scene on this resource here. Alrighty, so now if I go to my test enemy, what I'm gonna do is instead of using this visuals node here, I'm gonna go ahead and instantiate a child scene, hit flash component. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll, yeah, that's fine actually. Cool. Okay, and this hit flash component, let's build this. The hit flash component needs to have the reference to the health component assigned to it. So let's do this. Boom. I can have these auto wire up too, which might be a little bit easier in some cases, but providing the explicit reference to the editor is not bad. Okay, all right. So what are we doing here? Basically, I just need to make sure that this works now. I think. Oh, the other thing I need to do is I actually need to rename this. So this needs to become hit flash. Hit flash component. Hit flash component.scale. All right, let's take a look. Any bets on if this is gonna work? I always get the tweening of like shader material properties wrong, so I'm gonna be kind of surprised if this works. It didn't work. Okay. Started with no tweeners. Object reference not set to instance of object. Uh-huh. I see. Object reference. Is the material null for some reason? Let's see. Material. Godot object material. Uniform path. Maybe I won't be fancy with this. Maybe it doesn't like that. Let's just do this. I think it thinks this material must be null or something, or the property that I'm trying to tween is null. I think that might be the problem. I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. Nope, doesn't like that either. I'm bamboozled. Tween bound to test enemy started with no tweeners. There's a null reference exception, which I understand, but where is the null reference? It can't be the hit tween because I'm creating the tween right there. It's got to be the material, right? gd.print material, gd.print material.get property. Can I get something? Get, yeah. This. Just gonna print both of those and see what happens. Also, the other thing that I want to do probably is, well, do I want to do this? Show the hit flash only on the player's screen who did the damage. So the shader material is there. Oh. It's printing null for the value. So did I do something wrong? Flash percent. Can I set this to just 0 by default? Is that what I need to do? Maybe the value is null. I don't know why the value would be null, but let's see. Okay, so that's printing correctly now. Okay, so that's good. So it's okay. So that was null before. Okay, so I do need to explicitly set it to a normal value by default. But then, why is this not working now? Tween property material uniform path. Let's just make it really obvious. We'll do it over 1 second from 1. Okay. We're gonna get this. My shader's not wrong. It's just I can't tween this material. Okay. So the other thing that may be happening is maybe, actually, you know what I'll do? Close this one, host. I'm going to pause the game, go into my remote scene tree and make sure that that material is actually being used. So kind of my test enemy. hit flash component. This sprite 2D. Use parent material is off. Check that out. So I bet you if I checked that on and then unpause it, yep, it's working now. Okay, so I don't think I can do this assign parent material then inside of this instantiated signal. So what I'll do is I'll just do it in the ready then. That's fine. Unless this x.owner is equal to owner is not working. No, that should work. That should work. All right, let's see if this works now. There we go. We got the hit flash going. Okay, I'm actually going to leave it on 1 second though, because I want to see tween.transition type. Let's do... I need to look at my easings again. Easing cheat sheet. I probably want ease in expo. That's probably what I want. So let's do ease type in transition type expo. Let's see. Because I wanted to flash white and then have like a frame or two where it's like an in-between white and full color. Okay, you see how the white hangs around a lot longer and then it fades out? So now if I just go ahead and turn this back down to 0.15 duration, then I should get closer to what I'm looking for here. And then we can add some blood. We can add some blood. Hello, Ariane, welcome back. Great to see you. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too sticky. Maybe that's a little bit too sticky. Let's do ease in. Let's try cubic, I guess, which is what I had before. A little bit too sticky. Tweens are awesome. Easy way to make your game look and feel good is just get some tweens in there. Okay. That feels good to me. Now I'm curious to see what that looks like in multiplayer mode. Host, join. So we're playing on the client. Yeah, so the health is synchronized between the health is synchronized between all the players from the server. So basically that health change signal is going to be emitted whenever the health is changed, which is super nice. So the way I set up the health component is that there's this current health value, and it has a getter and a setter. And inside of the setter, this is what emits that health change signal. So anytime this value changes, it will emit the health changed. And then what's happening is that in the test enemy here, in the state synchronizer, which is what synchronizes the properties over the network, I can just do health component current health. So now the server is authoritative in terms of it keeps track of all the enemy healths, but then it broadcasts the health changes out to all the clients. And then the client side can handle the, health changed things. If that makes sense. And I have this death component here. Let me make sure. Yeah, that should work. Okay, all right. So I wonder if I should, let me think. This is only going to be called by the authority. Callable remotely only by the current authority. I think what I want to do in here, if I'm not mistaken, is only restrict listening to that for the multiplayer authority. Just make sure that that works. Because the way I had it set up, I think it was going to call that on both, which might be okay, but... Might be okay, but that's all right. Get 'em! So yeah, on the client here, like the client is not actually doing any damage. There's actually no hitboxes that are spawning on the client. All the hitboxes are spawning on the server, which is something that I need to actually look up because I'm not sure if I should be doing that. I think it's fine, but I just need to make sure that that's expected. Okay. Animations are a little bit janky and whatnot, but we will gradually improve those as time goes on. So let's see. Very nice, yes. Are we waiting for the next course to learn multiplayer? Yeah. Hello, Dusty. It depends on the game. Some games have hitboxes on the client so they can do more responsive hit animations. Oh, I see. But yeah, so if you wanted hitboxes on the client, basically you'd only want them for visual purposes. You wouldn't want to listen to them for gameplay purposes, obviously. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So that may be something that I want to look into then. Maybe I should spawn the hitboxes on both and just separate the visuals from the logic. Now I'm just thinking of like Dark Souls when you play online and it's super laggy and you hit somebody and blood gets created but you don't do any damage. Anyway, I don't think that's super important to worry about right now though. The benefit of doing things in this like very modular component based way is that if I ever wanted to make like the hitbox component function in a purely visual way on the client, I'd basically just have to go into this class and like add that support, and then anywhere that's using a hit component, oh, it magically all works, you know? So I'm really, yeah, the composition based design is like definitely my favorite way of making Godot games. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so added hit flash. Let's do some blood. Everyone loves blood. I'm gonna do my classic. Let's see, how big are my players here? 24 by 24, so let's do file new. Let's do 16 by 16. Actually, sprite canvas size, let's do 16 times 4. Okay, I'm gonna take this, oh. I need to find a palette. Oh, did I not put my, hold on a second. And put my palette in here. Still don't know if I'm going to stick with this palette, but we'll see. Okay, so let's go ahead and just, I'm going to draw a bunch of blobs. That's not a good blob. That's a good one. It's a little bit too sharp. There we go. Well, we'll see how that works. We will see how that works. So assets, let's create a new effect. Oops. Effect. Particles.png. This is exactly what I did for Gunforge, by the way. I have particles that are just like 4 little blobs. And that's basically what I use for every single particle system in the game. Okay, every single one is a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So let me think. I need GPU particles. Do I want to make it... Other node GPU particles 2D. Blood hit particles. We'll save this in new folder, effect, save. Cool. So here's a little trick that I like to do as well. I'll show you in a second. We need to do a new, yeah, let's do this. Material, new, canvas item material, resource, or no, particles animation, H-frames 4, particles anim loop, save as. Material, canvas, item, particles, animation, material. Cool. Drag those particles over. Just turn off all these settings here. Okay. So spawn. Let's do a sphere 4. Direction is 1. Spread is 45. Initial velocity 50, 200. Might be too much, but we'll see how it works. We want to turn up the explosiveness as well. Cool. Display animation random offset. So it's going to choose random particles. We want to do a scale, min, max. Perfect. Scale curve. Go up real quick and then out. Perfect. We can also hang on to those a little bit. There we go. Okay, so then change the angle of those. Probably we'll also want angular velocity. That spread is a little bit too much. Perfect. Might also, could add some gravity or some additional gravity here. Let's try 200. Yeah, give it a little bit of an arc. And then the color curves, color initial ramp. For some reason this never works, but let me see if it works this time. Oh, is it gonna work now? Sweet. Let's do I want to use that red color? Might as well go super vibrant red. Cool. Oh, wait, it's not working. Yeah, for some reason that never works. Okay, so we'll do the color initial ramp instead. There we go. Okay, so the trick that I was going to show is this. So without writing a script, you can have particles that are just self-freeing. So you can add an animation player, create a new animation, call it default, whatever you want. Set it to autoplay. Go to your blood hit or your particles system, keyframe that emitting, turn it on. And then after a second or so, you can add a new call method track on the root, add the cue free method to it, set it to the end, and there you go. So as soon as you instantiate these particles, the animation will play, it will emit, and then it will free itself. So no code necessary. I guess the animation, some people think the animation player is a little bit too heavy for this, but I haven't noticed any problems, so. So this blood hit particles here, let's see. I don't want a script. I want now to spawn this when an enemy takes a hit. So I think the easiest way to do this is going to be... do I want to add it to the hitbox component? Hit parameters. Is there a direction in here? From direction, yeah. I guess I'll just create a new hit effect component here. We'll add a script to it. Scripts. Okay, we're going to need a node private hurtbox component. We don't need any of this. Then we're going to do an export here. Export private packed scene hit effect scene. Okay, so public override void ready. Hurtbox component, oops, dot hit plus equals on hit. On hit. Does this take a hitbox component? I think. Nope, I guess not. Oh, it takes hit parameters, yes. Hit parameters. So what I can do now is I can say, so this hit effect component, because it's a node 2D, what I can do is I can say hit effect scene dot instance or free as a node 2D. Okay. I'm just going to say, I don't know. For now, let's just do get viewport.root. Okay, we'll do get tree.root.add child. This needs to change. But we'll add the scene there. Scene.global position is equal to global position. Scene.rotation is equal to negative hit parameters dot from direction dot angle. Okay, and that should be it. So now what I can do, let's build this. I'm just going to set the blood particles in here by default. Blood hit particles. Then my enemy hit effect component here. We can just move this up to like center mass-ish. And then, oh, I need this to be an export as well. So TIL, when you have an animation open, that key icon appears. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can basically keyframe anything in the editor when that's open. Okay, so let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. So I should see blood coming out when I hit enemies now. Okay, so there's blood. It's just not coming from the right direction. Why would that not be the case? Oh, this needs to be... I guess it doesn't matter, but let's do that first. Or no. Negate the direction before taking the angle. I don't think that should make a difference, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. Okay, so those particles are a little bit too slow. And they're too, what's the word? They're too numerous, they're too slow to die, and they're also have too much velocity. Might as well turn this down even more. Just make it super, yeah, like that. And then I can create other particles for like blood on the floor, but... Okay, so now that there's fewer particles, I think what I might actually want to do is increase the spread again. Okay. I mean, that seems pretty good for now. Might even increase the spread more, actually. Yeah, I might increase the spread even more. And, I actually wonder. Maybe I'll try it with an increased velocity even. We'll see. Hello, Polaris. Welcome back. Great to see you. Thank you for your nice day wishes. Okay, yeah, that feels a little bit better. Oh, yeah. So you get some crunchy sound effects. Maybe a little bit of screen shake in there. Ooh, this is already feeling good. Did you see how I dodged that guy that was attacking me? So you got the wind up so you can see, but when you hit enemies, you stagger them. So you can actually interrupt their animation. Okay, now of course we need to make sure this works for the client as well. It should work for the client. Am I sure about that? Maybe I'm not sure about that. No, it's not going to work for the client. So I need to figure out a way to get the particles to appear on the client. So there's the client. Yeah, there's no particles. Okay, so this kind of goes to what we discussed earlier, where we need to spawn some blood hit effects. Yeah, so maybe it is a good idea to spawn like a client-only version of the hitbox for hit detection purposes. Because the alternative would be I would have to RPC the fact that an enemy has been hit, which may be a good thing to do as well. It may be useful for the client to know for certain that an enemy has been hit. So maybe I should RPC that somehow. Let me think. I mean, I don't have enough here to actually know what I should do. Like, I'm trying to think, do I want to somehow RPC the hit parameters over? So I have all the data that the server used for the hit on the client as well. I mean, I could see that information being useful in the future. I don't think I can RPC this, though. I think I need to probably turn this into a resource. That's a good question. Anyway. Oops, I spelled place wrong, that's right. So let's think. I mean, an easy way to do it would just be to RPC the hit effect component. So there's a couple of options. I can just RPC the hit effect component to tell all of the hit effects on the clients to spawn a hit effect. I don't think using RPCs for visual stuff is that good of an idea. The other thing I could do is have a generic sort of like have the server notify passing along the hit parameters to all the clients so that the clients can use the hit parameters as they need to for visual purposes. That would be a little bit more robust, I think. The other option is to spawn a hitbox on the client as well as the server. and just use that hitbox for visual stuff only. That might be the best approach, honestly, because if the client state is synced with the server state in terms of like the weapon stats and everything, then I can derive the hit parameters and use those on the client, but only for visual related stuff, right? So I think that's what I will do. Hello, Pocket Pixie. I am doing great. How are you doing? So let's take a look at the hitbox component. Okay, so this base weapon here. Not bad. What inspired you to build your game in Godot C#? I just have a lot of like, there's a lot of stuff that I have in C# that makes my life a lot easier, like my Godot utilities package, which is open source, by the way. You can go to my GitHub, github.com/firebelly and see it. There's just a lot in my Godot utilities that makes developing with C# very, very nice. And especially since this game is going to be another sort of game with a lot of complex systems, I just want to have the organization and structure that comes with C#. I thought about using GDScript for this game, but and I was going to until I found out that I could use things like the Godot Steam add-on with C#, and then also NetFox has some C# stuff that's being worked on by Dusty here in the chat. So yeah, I feel pretty comfortable using C#, so I'm just going to stick with it. That needs to be replaced. Okay, so we're going to figure out how to do client-side hitboxes that are only for hit visual purposes. I think this should actually be relatively easy, though. I think it should be relatively easy. I think I know how I'm going to handle this, but let's not worry about that just yet, because I was attracted to Godot C# because of the 100% royalty-free platform. Yeah, I mean, that's a good reason to choose Godot generally, I think. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break. I need a refill on my drink. So give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Again, Gunforge is available for purchase. It's the first link in the description below. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And I also have Udemy courses available for sale. So if you want to support my work and learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, check those out. Those are also linked below. I'll be right back in a couple minutes and then we will figure out how to get this client-side hit detection working. Alrighty, I'm back. So let's do this then. So where this is happening, this base weapon, this... execute attack. So this execute attack is happening during the weapon animation. This is not, it's not running on anything that's not the server. So I'm gonna have to remove that for sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to remove that. So I'll create the hitbox on everyone during this execute attack. And then in my hurt box, what I'll do is I can filter out so here I can just apply the damage. I'm wondering if I should create a separate signal here. Something like, instead of hit, I can do something like public delegate void display hit. So like the rewindable state machine has like normal states and then display states, and the display states are shown on every client so that you can do animations and stuff, but then the state is just relevant to the server logic. So I wonder if I should do like a display hit event handler, and if nothing else, this is going to very clearly indicate that I should hook into this anytime I want to react visually to something. So what I can do in here now is I can say if multiplayer manager.isServer, I can apply the damage and send that hit signal, and then I can also emit signal name.display hit always hit box component.hit parameters. So basically the clients are never going to receive this hit signal, so clients can only handle display hit. And that should be a good way of gating that logic, I think. So now when I go to my, where is this actually dot hit used? It's used in where? Dot hit on test enemy on hurt box hit. Yeah, so you can see here that this will never be, yeah, so since this hit is only going to come from the server or happen on the server, this will never happen on the client. But now in my hit effect component, I don't care about the logical hit, I care about the display hit. So I can say plus equals on display hit. And so basically these hit parameters, I basically can't trust these hit parameters because they're originating from the client, but for displaying visuals, it's not, I can use this from direction because it's not gameplay related, right? This is just to rotate the particles. So that's going to be fine, I think. So let's see if that works. And I could also do that for the hit flash component as well, I suppose. Well, that's actually related to the health component, so maybe not, but. Okay, so we got hit particles working on the client now. Sweet. Hello, Splat. Welcome back. How are you doing? Okay. I'm having a little bit too much fun here. Okay, so that's looking fine. Okay, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. I can see that being useful now for future things that I need to do. Anyway, let's work a little bit on some more complicated enemy behaviors. I think that this is going to be... Well, there's a couple of things that I want to do, so let's see. How's the prototyping going? It looks cool, by the way. Seeing you creating a game from start is amazing. Yeah, it's going fine. I'm having a lot of fun with the prototyping. I got through so far the most difficult issues with getting like NetFox working, and so now that I've got a good foundation in place, I'm finding it easier to add the stuff that I need to add to the game. Of course, I'm sure I'll run into some issues in the future, but right now I'm able to just go ahead and implement all the gameplay stuff that I'm trying to implement, so that's nice. Okay, so added hit effect. And it's nice, I'm just trying to like figure everything out, build a good foundation here, get a good like framework in place or a way of doing things in place, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is in my main here, I wonder if I should do a tile map. I mean, I probably will do a tile map at some point, but do I want to do that now? For the room here. I still haven't exactly decided what I want to do. I was going to make it so that... Let me try something. I was going to make it so that the room is like always just fits on a single screen. But with 4 players, that might be too small. But I do have the camera zoomed in. So I've set this up so that I have more room on the UI. So I think, what do I have it on? Display window. Yeah, so I've got 1280 by 720 viewport width and viewport height. And I'm using the canvas items stretch mode, so it's not pixelated. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think this is going to be a relatively UI heavy game in terms of like seeing your inventory and stuff. And so I wanted more room to be able to show more information. But I still wanted the pixel art to be relatively large. So what I'm doing is I have this sort of 1280 by 720 resolution here, but I zoomed in the camera, which brings it back to sort of my standard, what is it, 640 by 360, which is the canvas size that I work with pixel art on. Honestly, I think this feels nice, but when I introduce UI elements, they'll be smaller. And because there's a disparate, resolution there, I'm not using pixelated, like low-res, chunky pixel rendering. So it's just, everything's just going to render smooth, but the art is still going to be pixel art. So that's kind of the style I'm going for. Why did I bring that up? I don't remember. Anyway, static body, 2D. I'm just going to create some walls real quick. Just gonna create some walls real quick. Okay. Oops. Okay, there's some walls for us. Oh, you know what? That's kind of wrong. Now I can't go outside the arena. Okay. And also, let's take this static body and put it there. Okay. And then we need a navigation region. This is actually relatively easy too. I think. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, it is working. I wonder why it's not rendering on top of it. Okay, well, anyway. If I hide this, you can see that that's my navigation polygon there. So I can actually bring this out. So we got the navigation polygon. So this is going to be used for the enemy navigation, obviously. So that means that I need to implement like pathfinding and stuff and agent avoidance and whatnot. But I think that's going to be the next step in making the combat look and feel decent. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me think. How do I want to handle this? Probably copy the Pathfind component that I had before in Gunforged, because that worked pretty well. Bodies need to be a child of navigation region. No, it needs to be a child of the root node of the navigation region. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Hello, Neozoid. That method works fine. Oops. Okay, let me think about how I want to do this. Well, I'm going to need a Pathfind component, that's for sure. I'm just going to replicate kind of what I had for Gunforged, I think. So I got a navigation agent 2D. Actually, I'm going to open up Gunforged and see what that looks like. I may approach this a little bit differently. Oh, I've got an interval timer. Why? Component. This is a navigation agent 2D. Does that Oh, interesting. Navigation agent 2D does not inherit node 2D. How do you plan to build levels? Are you going to use ProcGen or just build your own levels? I do not know yet. I do not know. The levels aren't going to be like... There's not going to be any exploration. So the levels are basically just going to be arenas, and the arenas, you know, I could have traps in them, little pits that are just like not navigable, you know, or walls and such. But, you know, there's going to be no like exploration or anything. And the levels are going to be relatively small. I think thinking of them as arenas is a lot better, because they're basically just going to be small play areas where you fight, which is basically what games like Hades do, right? Or Tiny Rogues or whatever. So I may end up... It probably would be easier just to handcraft a bunch of different room templates rather than writing a procedural generation algorithm for it, but procedural generation could be interesting because then it's like you don't know what you're going to get, you know? But I haven't decided on that yet, so not going to think about it just yet. Okay, all right, there's a lot going on. I'm probably just going to rebuild the Pathfind component and struggle through it because, yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding it properly. So navigation agent 2D, and we had an interval timer in there, which was a random timer, which I haven't pulled in yet to my project. So I may do that. You know what, I'm going to do that, actually. Let me just, whoops. Let me go ahead and pull that up. So if you're curious, I have this Godot add-ons folder. And one of the two things that I need is I need, what is it? Random timer. So I want random timer, and I also want this palette importer as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and download these. And I'm going to go to my cooperative roguelike. I need to close this probably. Close Godot for a second here. Goodness, this is the most add-ons I've ever had in a project ever. Add add-ons. Oops. So let's see what this, let's see if this works. Hello, Rin, welcome back. How you doing? Great to see you. Okay, so project settings, globals, nope. Plugins, here we go. Center pivot offset, node library, and palette importer. Close. Okay, so I've got a palette importer here, which is somewhat broken, but that's all right. I can click load palette, and I can go to my assets, load this up. Boom. Check this out now. Now, when I use any color picker, my swatches has been imported and changed to use that color palette. So now I can just, whenever I need to pick a color, it's going to use my color palette that I'm using, which is awesome. So that's the one that I wanted for sure. I don't think I need that on anymore, so I'm going to disable that. But I also wanted the random timer, which allows me to set a min and max wait time here. How do you get the two docks at the same side? These ones? You could just click this drop down here, or this little dot menu, and you can change the dock positions. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so Pathfind component. Node private, or let's do public navigation agent 2D, get private set, node, private timer interval, timer will just get a reference to that, private static read only, string name, start random. Okay. All right, so let me push that. You are welcome, the Scots Mav. You are welcome. So let me think. How do I actually do the pathfinding now? I'm gonna try not to look at the code for Gunforged. Let me update the navigation agent 2D here. So pathfinding, path desired distance 16, 16. Path max distance 64. Navigation layers 1. Simplify path avoidance on. Radius, let's do a 16 pixel radius. Neighbor distance. Oh, this is the radius of the avoidance agent. Let's do 8. Neighbor distance. Doesn't need to be that high. 64. Max neighbors 10, that's fine. Time horizon agents, I don't know what that does. Max speed, we're gonna jack that up just because it doesn't need to be. I don't want that affecting my velocity. Okay. Let me look at the docs. Get avoidance, blah, blah, blah. Target position. If set, a new navigation path from the current agent position to the target position is requested from the navigation server. Cool. So here's what I'm going to want to do. Public void set target position. If interval timer.is stopped, well, let's just return interval timer.call start random vector 2 target position navigation agent 2d target position is equal to target position. So that's going to calculate a path. Okay. Get next path position. Public vector 2 get next get path direction. Let me read this. Get next path position. It will return the position of the agent's parent. Okay. So we'll just do this. Get path direction. We're going to do global position dot direction to get next path navigation agent 2D get next path position. Return those. Hello, is C# good for Godot now? Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I actually just released Gunforged, which was built entirely in C#, so, well, not entirely, 99.8% in C#. So yeah, it's great. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Chicho. Neozoid, lurkin, still lurkin. Okay, so let's go to my test enemy now. We're going to see how this looks. Instantiate child scene, pathfind component. Now here's the thing. Actually, this should be fine. So pathfind component. I'll just put it up here. Okay, that'll work. So we get the pathfind component. In here, node private. Actually, let me do this. Random timer, let's do one shot. Min wait time, max wait time, let's do 0.3, 0.6. Private pathfind component, pathfind component. So here, what I'm going to do in here is pathfind component dot set target position to current target to that. Direction is equal to pathfind component dot get path direction. Okay, this will have to become more complicated in the future, but for now, we're just going to follow the path. Now there's the avoidance problem. So public override void ready. Navigation agent 2D dot velocity computed plus equals on velocity computed. So the tricky thing here is I basically need to use the velocity of the pathfinding rather than my own velocity, but I don't remember exactly how that works. Do I need to set the agent's velocity maybe? Yeah, I need to set the navigation agent velocity. So, so what I'm going to do then is, what I did in Gunforge is I had this public void follow path where I passed in a character body 2D character body. And what I would do is I would what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take this velocity out of here. Yeah, let's take all this out of here. We'll do pathfind component dot follow path. This direction is equal to get path direction. Character body dot velocity is equal to that. Let's do this. Character body. Oh, shoot. I don't necessarily want to do this, but owner body is equal to owner as character body 2D. Owner body dot velocity equals velocity. So that's on velocity computed there. So direction, we're going to do navigation agent 2D dot velocity is equal to direction times, let's see. Sets the newly wanted velocity. The avoidance simulation will try to fulfill this velocity if possible, but will modify it to avoid collision with other agents and obstacles. When an agent is teleported, use... Okay. So velocity computed. Notifies when the collision avoidance velocity is calculated. Emitted every update as long as navigation avoidance enabled is true. Cool. So then what I'm going to do is... Yeah, I think that this is just a pure number. So I can do this. And then on velocity computed, I can set that owner body velocity there. So this follow path doesn't need to be there. And then this direction. I'm just going to do velocity.x. Okay, so let's do this. gd.print. I'm just curious to see what happens. Start velocity. End velocity. So what I want to see is I want to see that velocity being modified to some extent. C# is fine, you just might need to do things differently than you would in GDScript for maybe 5% of APIs, yeah. If you write anything in GDScript in a C# project, Godot will also map out classes for your C# script to use, so you don't need to go rewiring everything either. Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. Okay, it is not working. Because I forgot to name this correctly. All right, let's see. Host. Okay, so I actually think what I probably should do is navigation agent 2D. What is the velocity? Is it actually moving the agent? So maybe I should do owner body. I don't know. I don't know how to make this work. Also, this might need to be modified because it's happening in the rollback tick. Let's see if they're at least avoiding each other. Okay, yeah, there's all kinds of... None of that velocity stuff is working anymore because of the navigation agent. I would much prefer it if this was just a simulated number, because it seems like what it's doing is it's actually modifying, or it's actually moving the thing. If I removed this, I think it would be fine. But I also might need to take into account the NetFox physics factor. I actually don't know how to make this work with navigation agent. Yeah, so if I don't set the navigation agent velocity, then it's fine. What happens if I never set the owner body velocity? I don't like how it automatically moves. I wish that was just a simulated number that I could just use how I wanted to. Actually, maybe it's not. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it is just a simulated number. Maybe... So maybe the problem then is that hold on. I think that there's a little bit of complication here with how NetFox is interacting with this too. Follow path. I've only been casually listening. What's up with NetFox? Well, I don't know for sure, but I'm using a navigation agent velocity now, which has to affect my character body velocity. So I'm just wondering if there's an interaction here that I need to account for with NetFox. Because typically you have to do with the character body, according to the NetFox docs, you have to multiply by the physics factor, move the thing, and then divide by the physics factor. So I wonder if I need to do something similar with a navigation agent 2D. Yeah, not sure about the internals of nav agents. I mean, I would go look at the source code, but I know it's just going to be a nightmare to try to find that. Used and modified during... Oh, wait. What I don't understand is that as soon as I start using this on velocity computed, which happens after the avoidance is calculated, I think that's overriding any velocity that I have. So if I get rid of this, yeah, if I do this, this is not correct, but I just want to make sure. So if I smack some enemies, yeah, so the knockback is still working. So I think what's happening is that this on velocity computed is being called after I undergo whatever state change is knocking the enemies back. And it's overriding that. So if I, let's say, so enter state stagger, this velocity is being set to the stagger direction times this magic number 400. But what's probably happening is I'm entering that state stagger, and then the velocity that was being calculated from the prior movement here with follow path is probably coming in and overriding it. I mean, there's an easy way to test this. If owner body dot velocity dot length is greater than 100, gd.print, yep, overriding stagger. How's it Godoting? Very nice, Jackie Daytona. It's going well. It's Godoting well. Oh, I'm not going to be able to see that with all those prints happening. That wasn't very helpful anyway, so I'm just going to remove that. Wasn't very helpful anyway, so... All right, let's see. Yep, so that's exactly what's happening. So my stagger velocity... I wonder if I can just do this, like the docs say, public void force velocity update. That would be super annoying to have to deal with, though. Also, I don't want... You know what I might do? Go away. You know what I might do is I might... So this velocity is probably sticking around after I change states. So what I might have to do is... I mean, I need to create a velocity component to handle velocity calculations. This is not going to be here. This needs to take a velocity value that can be just anything. But I wonder if I... So the problem, I think, is that this on velocity computed is just going to be happening anytime I'm updating this navigation agent 2D. But I think what I probably need to do then is I need to probably just disable and enable avoidance. I think that that might be fine. So let's get rid of this. So I'm going to do a public bool avoidance enabled equal, let's do this, get, we're going to return navigation agent 2D dot avoidance enabled, set navigation agent 2D dot avoidance enabled equals value. So my test enemy, what I'm going to do is when I enter state normal, pathfind component dot avoidance enabled equals true. Private void exit state normal. Pathfind component dot avoidance enabled equals false. Set exit state normal. Let's see if that works. So basically what I'm looking for is that stagger velocity should no longer be overridden because I'm disabling the avoidance, and that means that the computed velocity shouldn't be a thing anymore. Okay, perfect. So are they still avoiding each other, though? That's the question. Okay, yeah, so see how they're not bunching up and they're separating from each other? I may actually want to increase that avoidance radius. I think that will fix it though. So avoidance enabled, let's turn up the radius to 16 and see if that puts more space between them. So they shouldn't bunch up at all now. Oh, but they are getting some weird shifting around. Max speed. So I'm going to need to change that value based on a calculated max speed value. So I think what's happening is that when they bunch up, the navigation agent can go up to that 5,000 pixels per second or whatever, and that's what's causing them to like force each other apart very quickly. So if I turn that number down, they should separate a little bit more naturally. Yeah, see how they separated a little bit better? The problem is I can't set that. I can't set just like a separation speed. So when they get bunched up, they all force. Which is fine. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to avoid that necessarily. I just need to find a way to make that a little bit nicer when they're separating from each other. Max neighbors, time horizon obstacles. Time horizon agents. The minimal amount of time for which this agent's velocities that are computed are safe with respect to other agents. I don't think that needs to be that high. Yeah, I think that I wish that there was a way to, it doesn't seem like there's a way to do this, but this max speed is what determines how quickly they can separate from each other. I wish I could determine, like, there's an agent max speed, but then there's a max speed that can force agents apart, because I would make that more gradual while keeping their natural max speed. Oh, hello, did you spawn outside of the room? Idiot. But that separation is working better. But yeah, you'll see if I turn this down to 10 pixels per second, that's just going to slow them down across the board, which I don't want. Yeah, so see, so the movement speed affects how fast they can move. In all cases. So whether you're talking about separation or just navigation generally, I don't like that. I don't like that. Now I'm thinking if there's something weird I could do, like I could set the max speed to like 5 pixels per second. So like I could have them separate, or 10 pixels per second. So I could have them separate at 10 pixels per second, but then I can remap their speed based on a percentage of that. No, that's not going to work, is it? Yeah, I don't like how controlling this is. There's like there's no way to control accelerations or anything in here. I mean, it worked out fine for Gunforged, I suppose, but toggling off the avoidance when they're in a different non-pathfinding state is working as expected. This is already feeling pretty fun. Just like trying to dodge their attacks and not get smacked. And I want to do more interesting movement patterns too. That right now they just seek right towards the player. I think it would be nice if like they could move around a little bit more and kind of surround the player. Obviously it would depend on the type of enemy, but okay. To do need velocity component, change max navigation agent speed based on that. Actually, now that I think about it, I think what I could do is, instead of setting the max speed, I could set the max speed to whatever speed is currently happening in terms of the velocity component. So I would set up a velocity component that has all kinds of things for me, like accelerations and stuff. And then what I can do is that as the agent is accelerating, I can set that current snapshot of that velocity to the max agent speed in the navigation agent. And so that means that when a separation is happening, it will respond. It will behave as an acceleration as long as I'm updating that basically like every frame, right? I think that will work. So I can control the acceleration through the velocity component to increment the speed over a series of frames, and then update that navigation agent max speed every one of those frames. And so if the agent is moving faster, it can separate faster from the other agents, and if it's moving slower, then it will separate slower from the other agents, and I think that's going to feel much more natural. So that's probably how I'm going to work around that. I think that will work. But I'm glad this avoidance enabled thing works, because then I don't have to worry about the velocities being overridden anymore. Okay, all right, we're figuring things out, we're figuring things out, we're figuring things out, we're figuring things out. Okay. So, basic pathfinding. Sweet. All right, well, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. Got a lot done, so yeah, it's coming together. I want to have, I obviously want to build a prototype as quickly as possible. My goal is to have something done, hopefully within like a month, that can be played, connected to with other players, that contains the basic game loop, so that we can evaluate, perhaps together, how it's all feeling, and then we can go from there. The goal is to have this game done before the end of the year, ideally within like 6 months, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, check out Gunforged if you're interested in supporting my work, or if you're interested in Gunforged. The link for that is in the description below. I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. It's a great way to learn how to build games in the Godot engine. So all those links are in the description below. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. Thank you all to the VOD watchers and lurkers as well. I appreciate you all. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow stream, 10 a.m. Eastern. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.